Well, aside from peaches, perhaps Georgia's most famous crop is the Vidalia Onion. Chip Carter got an update on how the recent cold snap will impact this year's production at the Southeast Fruit and Vegetable Growers Conference in Savannah.
Now, we had some exceptionally cold weather. Georgia saw cooler temperatures over the last few weeks than they've seen in several years. We saw places dip down into the teens, and up towards Atlanta, they were into the single digits.
That's right.
Does that have any kind of impact on that crop? Can you tell at this point what kind of crop you're going to have? Do you know that there's a certain percentage there? Do you know you are going to have solid volume, whether it's a bumper crop or not? Or is that the kind of thing you can already tell at this point?
We're starting to see a lot of recovery. So when we get the colds, it's almost better to kind of have it early when we're right after transplanting, because they're dormant at that point. You know, the colds later in the year when they're not dormant is kind of the scary parts. Right. But, you know, we do see some stand loss because of the smaller transplants, or they might not have been planted quite as deep and that ground froze at a shallow depth. But that's why we plant them that deep. There's a history and a tradition. We've learned these lessons, and the reason we plant a certain depth is because of cold weather.
Right.
Otherwise, we'd plant them shallower.
And you always expect something.
That's right.
You plan for something to come along to take a nip out of that crop.
That's right.
You're not ever counting on harvesting every onion that's planted.
That's correct. Yeah, we have to have some loss with our deal. It's because of the deal, but that's what makes Vidalia so exceptional, and that's what should make them desired by the consumer. Is they're hard to grow. They are the primo type thing, and nothing like that happens. They're unique.
And that's the art of farming.
That's correct.
And that's the art of the Vidalia onion.
You know, fortunately for my generation, we've learned a lot of lessons by the hard lessons in life by our older generations of losing crops and stuff like that. But the genetics we have due to the breeding and the interest in our production line, these seed companies have given us stuff that is more cold hardy, is more unique and consistent from year to year. And we select those onions in our region when we have cold weather. So it keeps getting better and better. And going forward this year, we've seen a recovery of the past, say, 20 days since the cold. And every day they get better. So I think the good weather we've just experienced, the warm, mild weather, has been just as good for the onions as that 3 days of cold weather. So the Lord's been blessing us.
That said, like all farmers, Vidalia growers will be nervously watching the thermometers, clocks, and calendars as they tick on down to mid-April, and we get that bounty from Vidalia again. In Savannah, I'm Chip Carter from Where the Food Comes From, reporting for RFD-TV.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now, Cliff does say that farmers had a great planting season. Most Georgia farmers put in 80,000 plants per acre, but some are in the 100,000 range. That's a lot of sweet Vidalia onions, of course.